Hey everybody, Tech Yoda back here with you again now. And this tutorial, it continues a discussion about using Google Slides, which is part of our Google Student account, to create a digital notebook. So the title of this tutorial is Starting Your Digital Notebook in Google Slides. We've already kind of started it in the first tutorial, just kind of getting it going. But you'll notice here now, I have quite a few slides made, and I'll kind of show you how to do this as we get going. But I just picked these from my theme. Now I have my theme all set to go, so I'm going to close this. I don't really need this sidebar anymore. It gives me a little more space to work. And I created these slides. The only reason I made them already was for the sake of time. I didn't want you to have to sit here and watch me type these slides out. Okay, so that's why they're like this. They're already kind of made. They're not totally made yet, but they're kind of made. So let's think a little bit about what we're doing here. If we go to our Learning Targets web page here, and this is the website that I shared with you in class, you'll notice that we talk about keeping a record of our learning targets in our digital notebook using Google Slides. And then down below here, you'll see what our level 1 information is that we need to understand. There's the basic pieces of information. And starting with the focus questions, the lingos, and then the visual content development here. These are all things that I need to put into my digital notebook. All right, so the focus questions and their answers need to go in there. The lingos and their definitions need to go in there. And then any visual content that we need to develop needs to go in there. The one for this is pretty simple. So let's talk first about what to do with our focus questions. Now these are questions, guys, that you need to be able to answer based on the information I share with you and your experience in understanding this learning target better. So in the case of digital note taking, there's just 3 of them here. And so what I did, if I go back over here, notice I'm tabbing over, get a different tab open here, is I guess before I even get into that, you want to make a kind of a title slide here. We'll talk more about title slides later. But just kind of put this at the top as your heading, and then your name. Don't put Mr. Highboard. That's my name, okay, because I'm the creator of this. But actually, that's not my name. That's Mr. Highboard's name. Maybe I should change it to Tech Yoda, so it's not so confusing to folks. Let me go ahead and change that real quick. That would make some more sense because Mr. Highboard didn't make it. I made it. And then my hour tag. Remember, S1 stands for semester 1, second hour in this case. If you're in 4th hour, you put S14. And then the school year down here. That's basically what it's made of. And then the first slide here I got, guys, is my I can slide. Okay, so whenever we have a new learning concept, I can keep record of my learning targets in a digital notebook using Google Slides. I can strengthen the I can slide with visual help, so on and so forth. Now, the other thing I should do here is I should include A1. Okay, so I want to make sure I know that this is the A1 learning target, and it's being described here. All right, so I'm just going to include A1 here. Now, a couple things here. I probably want to make this a little bit smaller than what it is. I just kind of typed it out with what was there. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, I'm going to go to 18 here so it doesn't take up so much room. I don't really need this text box, so I'm going to get rid of it. I can just click on it, on the edge of it. Notice I click on the edge. I hit delete because I don't need it any longer. Okay, clicked on the edge and got rid of it. If you don't get rid of it, it's not the end of the world. And I'll show you more about this later on. How did I know what to type here? Well, this came from at the top. Here's my I can statement. It's the same thing. I just took this and copied it, or took this and typed it out here. Now, it's kind of a pain to kind of click back and forth. So what you can do is you can kind of read it from here if you want on the screen and then go do it. The other thing you may want to do is take this tab out here and kind of click and hold it and drag it over to create a separate window. Okay, everybody see how I did that? You can rewind this if you need to see how I did that. Because I just clicked and hold, and I can drag it off here and make a separate window out of it if I want to. Okay, so I can kind of put it off to the side here. I can kind of make it a little bit smaller. So kind of off to the side a little bit better. I can kind of arrange my screen so I can see things a little bit better. It might get a little small on you. At least I can kind of look over here now and then type it out on this side. All right. Now, we'll come back to the ICANN slide here in a second because I need to put the visuals in there as well. The next slide I made, I started making my questions or my focus questions here into slides. All right. So what I did here is I put the first focus question, which if I go down here a little bit farther, A1 focus questions, here it is right here. And I just typed it out in here. Now I could actually put the answer at the bottom here, but I'm thinking ahead because I know I'm going to be quizzed on this stuff pretty soon. So instead of putting it on the same slide, I like to put it on a different slide. So what I can do is kind of click through, look at the question, and then look at the answer. Okay. So here's the question: what is Google Slides and how do I make one? And then I put the answer right after it. Now when we get to know about slides a little better, you can actually play the slideshow and be able to see those things. Okay. Now what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to get rid of this text box again because I don't need it. So I'm just going to click on the edge of it so it's totally highlighted. Hit the delete button. I'm going to leave the same size. That's fine. I can probably move this down a little bit if I want to. And then over here, I don't need this text box, so I'll click on the edge of it and hit delete. And here's my answer. And you guys can copy my answer if you want. This will help save you some time. But here it is. And this one I might want to make a little bit bigger. Again, we're going to talk about formatting text a little bit later on. But if you know how to do, some of you guys know how to do this already. Oops, I kind of bumped my screen down here. Let me go back. But if you know how to, whoop, I'm kind of clicking all over the place, aren't I here? But if you know how to change text, you can go up here to more. And you know how to change the size of it, go ahead and do so. If not, I'll show you how to do it later. It's no big deal. Okay, but that makes it a little bit easier for me to see. So I'm going to do that for all three focus questions. Okay, so you may want to stop and do that a second. Okay, if you don't know the answers, we'll go over them together in class, but hopefully you can kind of do that. Now, you need to do the same thing for lingos. You need to make a slide or slides for each lingo. Remember, lingos are just the terms that we need to understand. So, for example, here's our first term, digital notebook. If I look over here on the side in lingos, here's my first term, digital notebook. So I made a slide for that. And again, I'm kind of going with a theme where I want to put the definitions on a separate slide so I can quiz myself later instead of putting them together. You can put them together. It's up to you. Okay. And then over here on the next slide, all right, then I put in the definition. Again, I just copied it from over here. Okay, so the definitions I give you. The focus answers I don't necessarily give you, so you're going to have to write those in your own words. Okay, but over here, the definitions are here for. So just put on a separate slide. Again, I'm going to get rid of this text box by clicking on the edge of it and hitting delete. I don't need this one here, so I'll click on this one and delete. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do my lingos. I think we got 5 different lingos. So I'll have to make those into different slides. Now you may wonder, how did you add these slides, Mr. Ivor? Well, it's pretty easy to do. I just go to the last slide in the list here, or you can go to any slide for that matter, and just hit the plus button up here, and it'll put a new slide in for you. Okay, like so. And then you can go from there. All right? So that's how to create slides for the ICANN, or the focus questions rather, the ICANN and the lingos. So let me backtrack one more time. ICANN slide, all right? Focus question slide and answers, and lingo slides and answers. All right? Finally, at the bottom here, remember we had those visuals, okay? Now, let's take a look at this real quick because this is kind of interesting here. I want to be able, all we need to do if we read the instructions here for A1 visual development, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So you will start by simply adding these 2 images to our A1 ICANN slide. So we're going to go to A1 here. And these are kind of the visuals that go along to help us remember some things here. All right. So what I can do is a couple different things. I could just take this image, simply drag it over and drop it onto A1 here. And then what I'll have to do is kind of make the image smaller by clicking the corner. Hopefully you know how to do that stuff. Like so. And I can take the second image, do the same thing, move it over, drag it and drop it. Okay. And it works pretty well. Okay. Now, the image quality I'm great because I have my screens a little bit smaller here. All right. But if I were to go in here and make my screen a little bit bigger now, I can see these a little bit better. All right. And kind of look at those that way. So that's how I put my images in there for me. And again, I don't have to do any labeling. We'll talk about labeling images and stuff like that later. These are just some reminders to help me remember what I'm going to use here. Okay. Now, I'm giving you a lot of information here. Feel free to rewind, go back, watch again and again until you get it right. But hopefully this will get you on the path to creating your digital notebook for your ICANNs your focus questions, and your lingos. If you choose not to make separate slides for your focus questions and then their definitions, that's okay. You can put them on the same slide. Same the lingos. You want to put them on the same slide, that's fine. I like to put mine that way because later on I can quiz myself. I can look at the lingo, and then I can go in and look at the definition and see if I remember what they mean. Because I will be taking a quiz on these a little bit later on. All right, that's it from Tech Yoda today. Hopefully you are understanding this. If you have questions, see Mr. Hybor. He can help you with this. But that's all I have for you in this tutorial. Thanks for listening.